Hello and welcome to the Happy Hippie podcast. I am your host, Amanda McCormack. I am a registered yoga teacher, a certified personal trainer, and a certified nutrition coach. And I'm here to explore all the areas of life that contribute to bringing us greater happiness. Join me every week as we take deep dives into different wellness topics, methods, products, and even talk to experts in a field to discover what you can bring into your life to feel better mentally, physically, and spiritually. Get ready as the Happy Hippie podcast guides you towards living your best life. Okay, let's get into it. I am so excited to actually be recording a new episode. I've been traveling a bit and haven't had the chance to do so. So I missed about a week of uploading, and then I did record an episode with my friend and the microphone got all choppy. So I thought I had some content and I didn't. So that was on my end. I apologize, but I am back and I have so many stories to tell you, so many good things. But first off, today's episode is all about happiness and traveling and how traveling can bring you more growth in your journey in life and help you evolve into a better person. And I'm going to talk about different things from experiences that I've had traveling, lessons, and ways that you can travel and make it a little bit more affordable, a little bit more accessible, because I know traveling can be a privilege, and I'm not trying to be like, guys, go travel, duh. Like, I know how life works, but I've had opportunities in the past few years to travel for extended periods of time, and I just want to share the lessons I've learned because they have completely shaped and changed me as a person, and I don't even think that I'd be able to do the things I'm doing now without some of the lessons that I've learned from traveling and from people that I've come into contact with on these travels. I've learned so many life lessons and have really changed as a person. So I wrote down like 5 of my favorite bullet points I'm going to share with you. I have about 5 little bullet points I want to go through, so this shouldn't be too long of an episode, but it should be a really informative little lesson. But I do want to give you a quick life update. The noise in the background, I am using my good mics to record this, but I am living in the jungle at the moment for a few months at least, and this is the quietest space that I could find. I'm in like this meditation hall, which is beautiful, but there are frogs and birds and bugs that make noise, different bugs at different times of the day. So in the evening we have these super loud frogs, and this is like the most quiet time working with nature that I could find. So you will be hearing the nice jungle acoustics in the background. Enjoy it. Maybe you can use this as a sleepscape. But yeah, so you're gonna hear those in the background. I'm in Hawaii right now. So I am working and living at a retreat center. So I'm teaching yoga, and then I'm also helping out with some other tasks around the property, like taking care of the wildlife and the plants and helping out cooking the meals in the community kitchen, which is really fun. And we also do have guests, so sometimes I help out like setting up the guest cabins. So I do about 25 hours of work a week here in exchange for food and stay. So it's been a really crazy experience so far. I've been here about 2 weeks. I've met so many lovely people, which I will talk about in this episode. Meeting people when you travel, especially in a community or somewhere where you have an interest. So this is like a yoga type place. So people I meet are very open to the types of conversations that I enjoy having, and they have similar interests, and they also just are like more, I don't want to say more involved, but they've just gone through their own things in life that have brought them to the same path that I'm like similarly on. So it's really nice to meet those types of people, which that's almost like a bullet point that I have in this episode. So that's a little bit about where I am right now. So my next few episodes might have some jungle sounds unless I could get off the property. We're kind of isolated. It's really nice, but we're about 30 minutes from the main town. And funny enough, there's like no cars that we can drive, and the bikes are broken. So we have a beach nearby, and then whenever guests come in with cars, we usually like befriend them, and we're able to like go places. So I was able to like hike the volcano because I made really good friends with one of the guests. And yeah, the other main way is hitchhiking, which I know it sounds crazy, and like I'm so cautious. I would like never do that, but I've done it like 3 or 4 times already with other people and have had like made friends that way. We can talk about that another time. I don't want to go down the rabbit hole with that, but I just want to give you a little bit of update of where I am. And my last update, because I have to address this and update you on the drama, because I've been uploading on my new Instagram, my stories, but the Wi-Fi is a little choppy out here. Like I said, we're 30 minutes away from like the main town, and we don't have power lines because there are some beautiful trees planted on the main roads that were from a prior king here. And out of respect for the history and the culture of the people, like nobody wants to put up power lines, and I'm still with that. Like it's totally fine. So because of that, it takes me a long time to upload videos. So I haven't been able to like do a talking video really on my story to explain. But yeah, my Instagram got completely stolen out from under me. If you've noticed, it got hacked, and the person is, whatever they're going through in their life, they're just, I don't know, they won't give it back. They took it from me, and it's like a scammer that they usually do this. So when they took it initially, I woke up it's been like 9 days now, and it's gone. I can't get it back at all. Instagram has not been a help. So I did make a new account, and it will be listed in the description, so please follow it, because it was my business for 4 years, and somebody found out my password, I don't know how, went in and changed the phone number to their phone number, so anytime I tried to get in, it was just a mess. Don't worry, I tried everything. Instagram was not helping me out. I even sent the videos of my face, because if somebody has like your email and they changed it, you can send a video of your face to Instagram and they'll match your profile to your face. And I sent 4 videos in, and they answered me back and they were like, yeah, that's not you. So even though my page is covered in photos of my face and have my name in it, it's a mess in that sense, and I've just like come to terms with it. So that Instagram is gone. I can't access it. The person started off by posting like Bitcoin and cars and stuff like that. So some of my friends, thankfully enough, realized like that's not me. That's not the hippie in the jungle right now who's trying to sell like Mercedes-Benz on her Instagram. But then if you have noticed, they deleted all of those pictures, and then they started posting like in my story highlights, they started screenshotting stuff I posted in the past and like putting up back on the story, and then DMing people pretending to be me. So they're DMing people trying to sell like wellness products and supplements, and then they're trying to reach out saying that they're hosting fitness competitions. So it's gone. It's not me. I've posted as many times as I can, but it looks like they're just gonna like steal my identity at this point. I don't know what to do. I mean, if you do have any advice on how to deal with it, let me know. But I have tried like everything I've in my power to get my page back, and it just doesn't work. Like they won't let me do it. So I made the new Instagram. It is happyhippie_fitness. So that's the new account, happyhippie_fitness. If you're not following it already, check it out. That's where I'll be posting all my stuff from now on. And you know your girl backed that up. I have like 80 levels of security on this account now. So whatever, we'll start from scratch. The universe wanted me to do that. That's what we're gonna do. Sorry, I had to get that out real quick before we start the episode, because I haven't had a platform to speak on. And they also blocked me on all my accounts, so I can't even see it was upsetting, but I feel like I've moved past it. But I can't see any of my old followers. I can't see any of my old content, so I have to like completely start from scratch. I have something saved, so that's good. But yeah, I have no access to the account. Every time I click on it, it just says no post, and I see my profile photo of myself just staring back at me. So yeah, again, happyhippie_fitness is my new Instagram. I'm gonna be posting a lot more on TikTok as well now, because I feel like, I don't know, I'm just tired of Instagram being, like, they did not help me a bit with the situation. But yeah, let's get into this episode and really talk about some positive things, because I have some really nice lessons that I would love to share with you. And I would also love to hear what you have to say. So again, I gave you my Instagram like 5 times in the last minute. Send me a DM if you have any travel stories. We can post your responses like when this episode comes out and have a little discussion. So let's get into how traveling can bring you more happiness, more growth, and help you elevate and become a better person, or not even a better person, but unleashing the truest, the best version of you that already exists and helping it bring it into the world. Okay, so first off, I'm going to talk about just traveling in general. You can travel with friends or solo. I've been doing plenty of solo travel, which I would have been terrified. Like 5 years ago, if you told me I've been traveling alone to all these countries and places, like by myself on different modes of transportation, like I would be like, no way. I couldn't even raise my hand in class when I was a sophomore in college. Like that's not even that long ago. That's 6 years ago. Like I could not do that. And you're telling me that I'd be in all these countries, like putting myself way out of my comfort zone. But because of that, like I've mentioned, it's helped me grow so much. So I think the first point that I would make is literally going outside your comfort zone in a way that you haven't experienced, but you feel so good doing that. For example, when you're traveling, the literal comforts that you have in your home and your routine, they get kind of displaced. You can pick up new routines, which is wonderful when that happens. But besides that, like, you have to reach out to new everything. So the people around you, the where you get your food, where you get your like pharmacy stuff, if something happens, like you get a cut, like everything is new, and you have to. You're the only person that could like go get these things. So different countries, different states, different cities, they all have different services, and it's like a literal whole new world when you travel. But I think that's what it's beautiful. Like, it wakes you up from whatever routine. So if you're feeling stuck in something, immersing yourself, and even if it's just like driving to a city, like I'm talking travel on the smallest scale. I'm not saying get on a plane to Germany today, but like if you decide to like travel an hour away to a new city and explore, it's going to be different than your usual environment. So pushing yourself to plan some travel in the next calendar year, like even if it's as, like I said, a small excursion, it can open your eyes to new things. Like when you get stuck in the same old, it kind of puts this like veil on you where you're not really seeing things. Or when you look on Instagram and you see people like, you know, on Instagram when people boost up their lives and stuff, you're looking at that and you're like, oh, I wish I could do this or whatever, and it makes you feel bad about your current situation. Would you take a shift to go somewhere else or experience something else? It could take you out of that comparison trap and really put you into a whole new light of what's open to you, like what you can actually do, because you're the one that takes the actions in your life. You're the one that chooses to create the reality in front of you. And that's the beautiful part about life. We all have the ability to do that. And it's never easy. I know you have things going on. I'm not trying to just be like, book the ticket, but literally like taking small steps, maybe even trying a new cafe out in a different part of the city that you live in, that's traveling. Like putting yourself in these situations, stepping stone by stepping stone, will really help you evolve. And like anything that you desire, anything, the passions you have, like they're in you for a reason, and traveling can help you like work through any shadow like blockages that you have, for real. One thing I really got from it, like I said, I couldn't raise my hand in school. Like I've always had issues like being direct with people and asking for what I want, like really simple things too. And I guess that's like a lesson I've had to learn in life. But when you travel and I'm the only person around, sometimes it's up to me to speak to people for like guidance and help and things like that. Like if I'm stuck in a train station, I don't know where to go, like I have to speak to somebody. Like I have to go up to this random stranger and ask them if they know where this point is. Or if I want to use the bathroom, like I'm going to pee myself and I don't know where it is, I have to ask somebody. And even though that may not resonate with you, like traveling made me do that, because I could find ways to avoid that in my everyday life, like find the most comfortable spot or whatever. Even if it was like a really far walk away, I'd go back to places that were more comfortable for me. But when I was traveling and being on the move or being in these places, like you have to speak to people. And then that really helped me evolve. My conversational skills got so much better. Like I got more empathetic. I learned how to hold conversations with different cultures and people and just listen, and all of that from just having to speak to people. So I would not have made myself do that unless I was in an environment where I needed to. So that was one thing I really got from travel. My next point would be on more of an observative, like philosophical kind of level. I love the similarities and differences in every place. And again, everything I'm talking about in this episode can be scaled down to cities, countries, states, whatever. Like everybody has their own version of something. Like whether it be a fast food restaurant, like a CVS type thing, or like I've been to countries where they have their own version of Uber and stuff. Like it's just really interesting to see like how human communities all have similarities, but like they also have differences at the same time. So like I said, hitchhiking is really prominent on this part of the island, and they also have like a little bit of like a bartering system, which is really cool. So sometimes you could like pick a bunch of coconuts and bring them down to this market and like trade some guy for like homemade banana bread. So that's something that like was crazy to me. And you could pay a local like $30 and they can pick you and drop you up all day. So like if you're gonna go to a beach, you can like pay this guy $30 and he'll drive you to the beach, and then you can stay there and let him know like, oh, I'm gonna come back at 6, and then he'll come and get you. So it's like a whole different way of doing things, but it's also like the same concept of human communication and involvement from like other places. Like I'm used to sitting there and getting everything like instant gratification, like from a city perspective, but then when you explore new places, you find out the ways that people do things. And I don't know, it just makes you feel more connected to people, and it's so interesting to see. Like I keep a track in my notes of like all the similarities and differences of every place I've ever been. I don't know, I get so amused by it. I love it. So another thing is like independence and empowerment. This might tie into more solo travel, but still doing things in a group setting in an unfamiliar place can help you grow as well in this way. But like the empowerment you get from traveling and meeting people and doing things that you never thought you would do, like it makes you feel so much, I don't know, it makes me feel better about myself, like over the past few years, like the things I've done and the experiences and the things. I always say yes to things when I travel, even if I'm like tired or like whatever, and then they always pay off in the end. I've done like crazy things with the help of other people though, for sure, but the getting there, like one of my favorite memories is when I was in Portugal. I was with a group of the guys that we were staying with, and they were climbing like these cliffs and jumping out into the ocean. And like I've never even climbed at that point. I never climbed a cliff, so I'm climbing it, and it was scary because there was like gaps between some of the rocks where you could look down and you see like this big drop, and then it's like sharp rock and ocean at the bottom, and they were just like leaping over it, and it was like either I move or I'm stuck here. Like I had to figure out a way to do it, and I did it, and they helped me out. And like some of the people were like put their hand out, and it was just like such a cool like building thing, but it also empowered me. I was like, I just scaled these cliffs, and then I was afraid to jump at the top, and like everyone was rooting and cheering for me, and like we were all cheering for each other. But like when it was my turn, I was like so nervous, and then I did it, and it was like the best feeling ever. And that experience alone has like it uplifted the rest of my week, my month, and like I've carried that energy with me too. Like that I can do these things. And I always look back on some of the experiences traveling. Like I flew to Germany when I was going to Athens, and I missed my flight because I had like a 5 a.m. flight, and when we got there, there was only one person working customs, and my entire flight, like anybody who had connecting flights on my flight, we all missed them. So like I was stuck in Germany alone at like 6 a.m. and had to wait like 8 hours, and like I don't know, like things like that. I think back on it, I was like, I've been traveling for like 18 hours. I haven't slept. I'm alone in an airport by myself. Like, I got through those types of things. I feel like I could get through. It helps me with resilience, you know? It helps me with like discernment and resilience in situations where I'm like, I've done harder things. I could get through this. I know it. So, a point that I'd like to make is we pretty much have like all the tools inside us to change our lives and our minds. But sometimes having a shift of environment change or a shift of people and scenarios, it could really like unlock a catalyst inside of you. Like you have everything inside of you. I know that sounds corny sometimes, but from speaking to people and doing a lot of research and spiritually too, a lot of the themes in spirituality and different modalities like yoga and tons of things like that, everything goes back to that you're born like perfect and whole, like you have everything inside of you, but it sometimes gets, I wouldn't say lost, but foggy along the way when life's conditioning or societal norms get into your head or other people's opinions, and you kind of lose sight of that true version of yourself. Traveling is like a little key that you can like boop, like unlock a little bit of that part of you, and it comes out when you're put into these different situations. When you're stuck in a routine or something that's really familiar to you for a very long amount of time, you could lose sight of that. And by traveling and meeting people and going into a new environment, and again, this could be visiting a new store, like it could be something very small, so don't take everything I say on that big scale, but that is kind of the catalyst and something that can shift in your head and help you perceive stuff in a new way. Know every type of personality, but then you travel and meet new people and you're like, oh, I've never met this type of person before. Or you've stayed in beach areas and then you visit a new area, and I'm being very vague, I know, but like things are always unlocked when I travel to new places in my mind. Like I just see new things, experience new things, and it shows me that I really don't know everything. No matter how much you think you know in any topic, you can always learn more, or have like empathy for other people, like putting yourself in other people's shoes and perspectives and visiting and just seeing things at other points of views. It makes you realize that like we are all connected, and we have our own sense of self, our own mind and way we see things, but visiting places makes me realize like we really are really connected as humans, and we all have similarities and differences, but there's something about it that I can't even explain it, I guess, in words, but traveling really does help unlock that, and is a catalyst. I keep using that word, but it really is. Also, it is starting to like rain a bit. If you've noticed, like the change in sounds, the animals get more quiet when it's gonna rain. You can still hear birds chirping, but the wind is picking up a little bit. So if you catch that on this mic, You're getting a whole soundscape today, you really are. So I have 2 more points to make. This won't be a super long episode, but these were just things that I had in my notes that I really wanted to speak about. So the next point is becoming immersed in a community. And I've traveled in tons of different ways, whether it's been by myself with other people, staying in a hotel, sleeping in a car. I've been in hostels, co-works. Experiences is mostly how I travel. So I've done work exchanges, or I've done like my yoga teacher training was traveling. I'd count that as like an educational thing. Or when I was in Portugal, I was part of like a business accelerator, so it was also like an educational thing. But usually you meet people who are in that program, and that's one of my favorite ways to travel. If you have something that you want to learn, a skill, and you can do it, going to some sort of retreat or a training that is not just online but in person somewhere, you become immersed in the community. You really do. My yoga teacher training, the 200 hours, since it was accelerated, it was like a little bit over 3 weeks, the program, and it was like nonstop. We did stuff every day. We were getting up at 6:30. We had yoga at 7, and we had breaks throughout the day. Like we could go like swim and things, but we were pretty much done around 10:30 at night. So it was like long days and you're with people, but you really form a connection. And when things are back to back like that, you can kind of lose yourself in the environment and it becomes like a bubble. Not in a bad way, like a boxing yourself in, but I feel like my yoga teacher training was so lovely for me because it was in such a healing environment. I did it in Greece on an island. Like we had cliffs next to us and the ocean, and it was really healing to be there. But it was also healing to be with other people who had that same vision. And everybody had their own aspects of the world that they were bringing into our community, and we were like healing with each other. It was like really a crazy experience that I don't think you could get just from behind a screen. So if you have any sort of interest, I mean, that's kind of how I like to do things now. I save up and put time aside for it, but even if it's like a weekend retreat somewhere and it's a skill or something you want to learn or something you want to heal, finding a spot that you can do that and immersing yourself in a community, it doubles, like it speeds up whatever you're trying to get at the end. You have it with other people and you can learn so much better in that type of environment. You can also do work exchanges. So I'm pretty much on a work exchange right now, and the way that it goes down, I don't remember if I told you this in the beginning of the episode, sorry, but we're doing like 25 hours of work and then we can do whatever we want with the other time, and we also get 2 off days. But we are living with each other and we have like we have a few different bathrooms. They're like single bathrooms, they're really nice, but you do share them with other people. And we cook our dinners, our 3 meals a day. We cook in a community kitchen. We also have like another kitchen that you can cook in privately if you want. So it's not just like we're on each other nonstop, but you are living with people and they're strangers, and it's like crazy how quickly you become friendly. I like to say friends. I've heard people who like don't like to use the word friends because like you only met this person a week ago, but you form such a bond and you live with people. You can relate to this if you dormed in college. It's the same type of vibe, like when you live with roommates or you live with people on your floor or that you see around when you're going out and things. You become very close with people very quickly, and it's the same thing, but you get to do it in adulthood, which is something I really love. And I find currently like I have a mix of friends in tons of ages, so don't think that this is a bunch of like 21-year-olds like traveling and partying. Like some of my closest friends are 40-year-old women. I love the mom group. They're like my favorite. But yeah, it's a big mix. There's people here who are my age, a little younger, a little older, way younger. Like it's a good mix of people, and that doesn't even matter when you're in that type of community. And that's something I think I would have found weird a few years ago, or maybe it may be weird to hear, but yeah, the bonds just accelerate when you live with people like this and when you travel with people. And you're also so like I said, was not very social when I was young, like in high school and stuff like that. I was very quiet and shut down and introverted, and because I like go into these types of environments, I find that my energy carries. So like when I meet people in the stores, at the beaches here that I don't know, like I'm so much more open and I can easily approach them. And I've made friends like here as well, like not just in this community, but like on the beach and just everywhere, like traveling. It's just, the energy carries when you're with a good group of people like that. It helps you accelerate your life in different ways. And that's what I'm trying to get at with all these lessons, is like these experiences and these people can positively like impact you so that your own journey, your own growth and things that you're trying to work through in this lifetime, like it speeds it up a little bit. You learn your lessons, and if you observe things, you could apply them, and it just makes, I don't know. I always feel like I come out of every situation, every travel situation I've been in with another foot up on like a ladder, another foot up on a stepping stone in various categories. I also feel people who travel are a lot more open-minded, and this is really funny. So every trip I've been on in the past like 3 stays that I've done, like long-term, month-long stays, I have like cried in front of people like so often. So like my body, like when I hold stress, I cry, and when I'm really happy, I cry. And it's something I used to be kind of like ashamed of, and man, I am an ugly crier. Like, I still am. It's really bad. I get all red and puffy and, like, my eyes shut. Like, I look like my eyes are closed the entire time. And then I get this rasping in my voice where I'm like, like, I can't stop, and that's how I talk. And I used to be so embarrassed about it, and I've gotten yelled at for it in the past. One of the guys I dated in college, like, used to yell at me all the time. And, like, I used to do that, and he would, like, so because of that, I think it made me think it was wrong to do that, like have those types of emotions, right? So I shut that down for the past like 5 years or so. Like, I've been so afraid to like cry and things. And then when I'm with these groups, it's like when you get really open and vulnerable with people, it's easier for me to do it, I guess, with people that I'm not already close to at home. And I just find myself like expressing myself so much more fully, and I've cried. Like, yoga teacher training, I cried like 4 times when I introduced myself and told them like why I was there. And I would get kind of like emotional when I would speak to them and be like, yeah, people think I'm crazy at home. Like, I've been made fun of because I, like, and it's not, it really isn't like anything crazy, but I my own self was like the critic. But yeah, I would be like, I would just lose it and break down. And I did it again literally 4 days ago I did it. We had like a meeting, so every week here we have like a team meeting to discuss what we're going to do for the next week and all this stuff. We usually do like a bonding activity, and we did this activity called Rose, Thorn, and Bud, and you list 3 things. So your thorn are like your current problems, your bud is something that's growing for you, and your rose, I think it's rose or bloom, or what's blooming for you. Your rose is something like positive. And man, I listed the thorn and I was totally fine, and then I started listing the budding and I was getting like choked up, and then by the time I got to the damn rose, I was like gasping. But I always like try to joke about it because I'm still secretly embarrassed. But yeah, I was just basically saying like I'm so thankful for the group of people I'm with because I can just be open and they don't make me feel like crazy or judge me for like talking about topics. Or just usually I feel like sometimes with certain people I grew up with and like at home, I get like dismissed easily, or like do you hear my voice breaking? I'm not crying, but like every time I talk about this topic, I do get choked up. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like it's so nice to be able to talk to people. See, every time I talk about this topic, I really do get choked up, but I won't cry because you guys already have the soundscape to listen to. You don't need me wheezing in the mic. But yeah, I just appreciate it, and I think it's beautiful, and it's not a sad thing for me, but it's like how happy I get about it. And I've only ever found that like traveling with people. So yeah, if you feel like you're like outcasted in any way, there's always like your in quote unquote tribe, like there's always people that think the same way or want to hear what you have to say, which is really nice. So I'm good now, guys. But I do get choked up every time I talk about that because it really is meaningful to me. And it's something, yeah, like that's one of my favorite things is to talk about when I tell people like why I like to travel and why I travel the way I do and why I like communities and living with people. You build those bonds and you can just be yourself with people, and it's like that's what the human experience is supposed to be. So I know I'm not trying to like sell I'm not being a travel agent. I'm not trying to sell travel, but putting yourself in one of these experiences at some point in your lifetime, you can always reach out to me on Instagram, you DM me. I'm like always there to talk to people if they ever have any questions, or I know so many platforms as well that you can use to book experiences and to save money on flights, and that could be a totally different episode or like a totally different post or something, but I do have a lot of resources. So if any of this is really like calling out to you and you do have something that you want to do or you want to experience like a community that you'd like to live in or anything like that along those lines, just let me know. I know some good places and I know some good people that I could get you in contact with as well. And yeah, so I do have one last point, and this one's super quick. If you like daydream about stuff, I find that I was always daydreaming about like beachy, warm places. And if you've noticed in my travels, like I always do go to warm environments with like pretty water and beach. And I don't know, it's always called to me. I was born and raised in New York, and I don't want to live there my whole life. I think it's a great city, and you get like a lot of opportunities because there's a lot of things that are accessible to you in that type of city. But I don't know, I just feel like I daydream about different places in the world, and you never will really know if that daydream is good or bad until you visit it. Maybe visit it 2 or 3 times, get a real grip on the place, and then you get that satisfaction of knowing what it's like. Even like Greece, I always daydreamed about Greece, and like when I got there, it was great. I don't know, I could go off about how beautiful Greece is, like people, culture, everything is wonderful there. But there were things that also like didn't meet my expectations, and I was like, cool, now I know that because I traveled there. Same thing with a lot of places, honestly. Nashville was like that for me. I always wanted to go there and I didn't like it. But that's personally like where I am. Like I don't really like partying and stuff, so when I went there and I saw like what it was kind of like, I didn't really love it. And part of me did want to move there for a little bit, so then I was like, boop, cross that one off the list. But when you like daydream about a place, it could be different than when you're experiencing it truly. So if you do have dream locations or places like you want to move in your life, like at least book a trip at some point in your lifetime to really experience it. Or there's Facebook groups where you can find people who host community events or live in that area, and like you can connect with them or see what things are going on and like plan a trip around that if you'd like to visit something in that way. But I really suggest bringing that daydream into reality. I'm saying it, and there's places like I haven't even done that yet. Like my dream since I've been a kid was to move to Australia. Like since I've been 12, I've had like a savings jar to go there, and I don't know why I'm so drawn to it. Like I might hate it. I don't think I will, but I've always wanted to visit it, and I've had my eye on the work visa, like the 1 or 2 year work visa, for maybe 10 years now. Like I'm 25, I've been looking at that since like high school. So that's something I do have to do in this lifetime, or else I feel like looking at it from the lens of like an 80-year-old woman in a chair, I'd be very upset if I didn't take the leap and try it. And maybe I'd hate it. But again, I literally won't know until I go. So if you have that feeling, at least journal down some places that you'd like to see in your lifetime, and give yourself that, I don't even know the word, but you deserve to know, if sometimes your mind romanticizes things, and sometimes it does the opposite and it makes things seem much worse than it is, but you will never know unless you go. Like, not to be a proverb, but you really won't. So I think that's my last point in this episode on travel tips or whatever. I guess these were just like points and lessons and things that come up for me about travel. Again, I can do a totally different episode on like flights and all of that stuff, and how I like to travel and services I use and memberships and free things, and everyone likes to save money. So if you want an episode on that, let me know. But I think we're going to cap it here. And I will be way more consistent with the posting, because now that I'm back, I'm on a roll, guys. I've pre-recorded a bunch of episodes, so every Wednesday I'm going to try and post my episodes up for you, so they'll be ready to go like Tuesday night, so you guys can listen to them on Wednesdays. And yeah, you can listen on Spotify, Apple. I'm putting an RSS feed out there, so it'll go on other platforms as well. Yeah, tell your friends about it. Make sure, again, to follow my Instagram. I have the new one that I've mentioned a million times, but it is Happy Hippie, and hippie is spelled HIPPIE, just like the podcast, _fitness. So that is my Instagram account. Any suggestions on topics you'd like to hear related to travel, or not even related to travel, any guests you have, if you know anybody that is knowledgeable about an area or a field that you'd love for me to explore on this show, send them my way. I can reach out and hopefully do like an interview or something. So I want to give you guys what you want to hear, so make sure to message me on Instagram. That's where I am most responsive. And yeah, I'll link anything I spoke about in the show notes. Make sure to read it. If you want some good resources, I'll stick in there. But thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. I hope you have a blessed day, and we will talk again next week.